this all ironed out.
We will. There we go. Yes.
So yeah,
Almost
that's
there,
the
just
message that comes
loading.
across, but Jessie will let us know when it's actually all the way done.
All
So
the way
she'll let
done.
us know.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll wait for
Okay, you
Jesse.
should be ready.
All right.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's start again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, everyone. So let us call the meeting to order. And my clock shows that it's 5:44 p.m. on today's date, which is June 17th, 2024. So let me first again thank each and every one of you for your time that you're giving up and the talent that you will bring forth on this very important initiative for the Madison Metropolitan School District. We would like to follow the agenda as stated, although I think the voices of the committee are so important. So anytime there's a voice to be heard, we want you to bring it forward, and we will certainly entertain it. But as we go forward with the written agenda, first item is introductions. So we'd like for you to just give a brief statement introducing yourselves. And in that statement, feel free to share whatever information you like for the other members to know relative and relating to this mission of naming the Southside Elementary School. So I'm the kind of person who likes to go last almost in everything. So I'm going to start with the top left, starting with Chelsea, moving to the right with Barb next, followed by, let me get it right, Manka? Am I saying that right?
Monka Mitchell. Thank you.
All right. So let us begin. Chelsea.
Good evening, everyone. I hope your summer's off to a good start. My name is Chelsea Tubbs. My pronouns are she, aya, and na, and I am the proud associate superintendent. Southside is one of the schools I serve, so I greatly appreciate everyone's dedication for being a part of this very important committee. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. And my name is Greg Jones. I volunteered and agreed to chair this committee for the school district. I served in a voluntary role as president of the local NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the oldest civil rights organization in our country, and a retired public servant for the state of Wisconsin. I won't tell you how many years. So that's a little bit about myself. How about it, Barb?
Thank you. Yes, I'm retired from the MMSD, now consulting in several different projects for the Madison School District, and naming and renaming schools is one of my things. So that's why I'm here.
Excellent. All right. So Manka.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Mitchell. I'm the general counsel for the district, and I'm here to provide an overview of some of the documents you received.
Perfect. All right. And then moving down below, is it Choi? Did I miss it now?
Chuaher. I am a parent of a child that goes to Southside. Yes. Yes,
right.
Chuaher. So I was involved with the building of the school, so I'm just continuing my thing with the Southside.
So let me ask, are you connected to Ping in any way? Ping her?
Probably. Yes.
Excellent.
Distant.
Perfect. How about it, Sam?
Yeah, my name is Sam Cox. I am an employee at Southside as well as a parent, and I'm excited to be here.
Right. Beautiful. Good group. And then Megan?
Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Mullen, and I'm currently a third grade teacher at Southside.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. And moving down the line, Demetra. Oh, you're muted.
There I go. Hi, I'm Demetra. I'm the executive assistant for the Department of Elementary Education, and I will be taking notes on this meeting on an alternating schedule with Jesse Goggin.
All right. Yes, that's good staffing. All right. And Jesse.
I'm Jessie Gagan, the executive assistant to the Board of Education. And like Demetra said, we are going to take turns taking notes for these meetings.
Right. Okay. And just keeping it moving, Alkeisha, followed by Gail.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alkeisha Lang. I am a previous employee at the Southside Elementary School, as well as a community resource coordinator for the community, as well as I work for Madison College now, and I'm a strong community game player.
Beautiful. All right. Gail. There you go.
Hi, my name's Gail Martinson. I'm not on the committee. I am contractual researcher for the committee to research the names and anything that needs to be looked into.
Okay, excellent. Nice touch. And Ruby, we'll come back to you. All right. There you go.
Hello, I am Ruby. I am a SEA at Southside.
SEA.
Yes.
What is SEA?
Special education assistance.
All right, gotcha. Okay, beautiful. All right, and keeping it moving, I see a number, but not a name. So you want to give us a name and a brief introduction?
There you go.
There you go.
I think you're muted.
You're muted. All right.
Okay. Hello, I'm a bilingual resource teacher at Southside Elementary. My name is Ruben.
Ruben. You're Ruben. Okay, Ruben, gotcha. Beautiful. All right.
Jesse, can you rename Ruben? Thank you so much. There we go.
All right. Yeah, I gotcha. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. And then Benny. There.
Hey everybody, Benny's my legal name. I prefer Benji. I'm the secretary assistant at Southside Elementary. I see everybody as they walk in.
Right. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just scanning, making sure I didn't miss anyone. If I did, I'm certainly gonna give them the floor to give a brief introduction, and seeing no hands. So I really do appreciate that. I know this is our first meeting and I may bumble up a few names, but don't blame it on my sensibilities. Thank you for that. All right, and we have a question.
Mr. Jones, I just want to make one comment to the members of the committee on YouTube. You have to keep your video on while you're in the meeting, unless there's really something unless there's a really good reason for not having your video on, the people of the community should be able to see you like they would if you were in person. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Excellent. So perfect, everyone. And keep moving down the agenda. Second item on the agenda is public meeting protocols. And I think this is a critical piece because for all of us, the information that will be provided will be instructive, it will be informative, and certainly will be very necessary as we move through the process. So at this point, we want to, if you're like me, take notes as what's being presented and rely on those notes as we go forward. So we'll open up the floor to entertain that information about public protocols. And this is where I think, Barb, you has the alignment or the lineup as for who's going to bring what first. Am I saying that right?
I do. Thank you. Monco Mitchell, our general counsel, will be taking up this item. There are two documents in board docs associated with this agenda item. One is a very short introduction to Robert's Rules of Order, and the other is Wisconsin Open Meetings Law summary. So I would like to introduce again Monco Mitchell. Thank you for being here to help us out with this item.
All right.
Sure. Again, good evening. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for your service to the district by serving on this committee. So this evening, I'll be before you just very briefly. As my colleague Barb and Chairman Jones alluded to, there are two documents in board docs. One goes over Wisconsin open public meeting laws, and that covers meetings such as this. So exactly what we're doing, the times when you'll meet as a group, as a committee, to discuss and go through this naming process. And the second document consists of a summary of Robert's Rules of Order. And Robert's Rules, that's what we refer to during meetings such as this, as our guide in terms of how we conduct business. So when you review the names that have been proposed, when you open meetings, when you vote on names, every aspect of what you'll do in this committee is guided by Robert's rules. So because you have both of those documents and they're nicely summarized, I won't spend much time going over the specific language of the documents, but I'll at least pause at a certain point just to see if you have any questions. Go ahead, Chairman Jones. Did I?
Oh, no, I just said good.
Oh, yes. So let me see. One thing it's definitely worth noting to begin is that there's no expectation on my part, or even I can speak on behalf of Chairman Jones here. I feel comfortable that we don't expect you to memorize either document. So we're not expecting you to be well-versed in the law. We're not expecting you to be well-versed in Robert's rules. I know between Chairman Jones, Barb Osborne, and myself, we can help you help navigate, but you should at least be familiar. So if you haven't had an opportunity already, I would encourage you to review that just so you can be prepared and feel comfortable just navigating the order and understand the operations as they will exist once you get moving. A few things that I would like to elevate to your attention. I'll start with the Roberts Rules document. Again, this is to understand the order of business. Because the committee is conducting business on behalf of the Board of Education, on behalf of the school district, you'll need to know how to make and vote on motions. And so again, this all directly connects to the work that you'll be doing here this evening and moving forward. I'll pause. Are there any specific questions on Robert's rules that when you had a moment to review it, or even if you didn't have a moment to review it, just any questions you have about it? Okay, and again, we're not expecting perfection. You know, while this is a meeting, you know, we'll support you through that. So we're not expecting perfection, but I at least wanted to check in to see if there were any clarifying questions you had. And so the next document is Wisconsin Open Meetings Laws. And again, because these meetings will be public and accessible to the community, and as you should see on your screen that it's being live streamed and recorded, and that's an element of making it public and accessible because the public has the right to know, since again, you're doing work on behalf of the district, what's being said, who's on the call, the names, the work, what the vote is, just all of that. They have access to this information. It's important to remember that whatever the meeting is noticed to discuss, that's the only business that should be discussed here. So while we're live and the meeting, from the time when Chairman Jones convenes the meeting through the time when he adjourns the meeting, the only business that should be discussed here is the business that was noticed in the meeting invite, as well as, you know, specific relevant to the position that you're here to do today. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay.
Okay.
And then, while it doesn't explicitly go into detail on the Wisconsin Open Meeting Laws document, I do want to make sure you know, because everyone should know this. So whether you're an educator, an employee of the district, or you're a parent, in whatever capacity, whenever you're communicating with district officials, or you're serving in this capacity, because this again is connected to the district, you're subject to what we call public records. And so public records, as part of this process, you will be producing documents, which are going to be records, which the district will maintain. As a public entity, we sometimes have members of our community. They could be parents, they could even be students, educators, it could be members of the media. They want to know what's happening, and they will often request the records to, you know, review on their own accord, which they're legally usually entailed to do. And so I mentioned that to you because this could impact you. For example, if when Barb sends the meeting notices, or if she sends an email with a question or something for you to respond to, because you're conducting business on behalf of the district and in this capacity, we could get a records request that says something like, we want to see the emails that Barb sent to Sam and Benji and Megan, and their response to, whatever question that she asked. And because to be responsive to that, we would have to produce those emails. So that's just an example, but that it relates to you because since you're part of this process, you may be subject to some kind of public records request. With that being said, you may have someone reach out to you directly for records and documents. And if that happens, you should communicate that to both Chair Jones and Barb, and they will communicate that to me. And we will go through the proper procedures to be responsive to that public records request. So just because you're a member of this committee, you don't want to freely just share documents with whomever may request. It doesn't mean we're trying to hide anything. It just, we want to be respectful and honor the process that the district has in place to make sure that we're responsive, and whoever requests, we can get them to them and we can document. There's a whole process. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Just internally. So does the district have a position specifically designated as like a public records manager or so forth?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so that's what will happen. And so for some reason, this should not happen. Hopefully it doesn't. But sometimes people don't know, how to get information. So they may say, oh, I see Benji. He works at the school. I also see that Benji's a part of the, committee. Let me ask Benji for a list of the names that were proposed. And in that situation, Benji should not just share that list with whoever asks. That would be something that you would share with Chair Jones and Barb, and then they would contact me, or Barb knows how to get it directly to the public records custodian.
Gotcha.
So again, it doesn't mean that we will deny that request. It's just we want to go through proper channels so we have good record keeping. That's all. Does that answer your question, Chair Jones?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I have shared enough right now. I don't want to overwhelm you. And I also know we started late, so I don't want to take up any more time, but I did at least want to introduce myself and to let you know that while I may not be able to attend all of your meetings, I'm available if you do have any follow-up questions. And Chair Jones, as well as Barb, will know how to get in touch with me, okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
All righty. We want to thank
Thank you so much. Sorry.
You're
I want to
welcome.
thank you for that presentation, and I would encourage each and every one of us, if there's a question or unclarity about that process, we want to immediately get them answered. So we will rely on you to provide us with that direction and information going forward. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. So just to re-ask, are there any questions at this point so far? Seeing that, let's keep it moving. Next item on the agenda is the overview of the Citizens Naming Committee. I'm going to talk a bit about the board charge, board policy as it relates to the naming of a school. And I believe we're back to Barb to kind of lead that information discussion for us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Yes, first off, I would really like to find out right away, did anybody have any trouble getting into board docs to see the documents? No trouble. Oh boy, that's really awesome. So I can share each of these documents as I go through them. I think I prefer to do that so that everyone can see what we're talking about. Jesse, can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Yep, you should be set.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. So the first thing we're going to look at is the charge to the Southside Naming Committee. This has been similar charge to every other school that has gone through a naming process. This one is different though because it actually is a new school. So it really never got an official name. Southside was assigned to it so that we could refer to it. It is not its legal name, however, and so that's why we're here, to actually give the new school a name and a name that is coming from its community. So it's not something that the administration or the superintendent or the board or anybody names on their own. This is definitely has been a very public and community driven process in recent years. So the charge is very similar. It's just following the policy to the best of our ability and moving through the process, which ends with the Board of Education getting the recommendation from the committee. And then they do a couple of things with public appearances, and then they make the final decision in the end. So that is the charge. Are there any questions about the charge of the committee? Okay, I'm gonna move to the next document, which is it's a flow chart, which is really more of a graphic for anybody that you want to share this with. That was developed several years ago already now, but it kind of lays out what the board does, what the committee does, what the timelines are. It's very, very general and applies to all the namings and renamings. So when you get a chance, you can take a look at that. I do want to speak more a little bit to the timeline for this particular committee, but that is something that you can refer other people to so that they get an idea of the overall flow of how this process works. I do want to get into the board policy, but first I think I will try that timeline. So Southside was a little bit different, as mentioned. We started this process back in February 2023. We opened up and sought names and received a whole bunch of applications at that time. Later on, the board decided to pause that work, mostly due to the fact that they were working on hiring a new superintendent. And there were a bunch of other things that they were involved in directly, and they kind of wanted to slow things down a little bit for the district and give them a little bit less things to have on their plate. And so the process was paused. There was also a little period where board members were asked for any changes that they might find necessary to the policy itself. We didn't get any changes to the policy at that time, so we are continuing to move forward. So the process for getting applications was reopened again this year for a period of 2 weeks, beginning on 4/16 and ending at the end of April. We did get some additional proposals, so we feel that we have done our due diligence with regard to seeking proposals. The board then appointed the committee that is here. I believe that was on April 15th, and the website has been developed and opened up, and now contains all of the proposals, and everything that we do in this committee will be added to that website so that everybody can go into one place to get an update on where we are in the process, and they can also see what we have done in the past. So all of it will be documented, and that's part of the timeline. So where we're at now is taking a better look at the policy itself. I'm sure that our committee members have done a read through of this. The policy is not huge, it's not super long, but it's pretty clear about the role of the committee, the role of the board, and why we have this, and what the proposals are supposed to actually contain to make them viable. So seeking the proposals has been done. The individuals have been named to the committee. We have a chairperson. Proposals have been submitted. They are now, the window's closed for that, so we won't take in any more proposals, but we'll be working with the 175 proposals that we have. And before we get really nervous about that, there are duplicate names in the list. So here's the criteria for what the proposals are supposed to contain. Some of it is about, these names can be names of people, but the people have to be deceased. It can be a geographical site. It can be a concept. So the door is wide open for people to propose almost anything that they want. So it's very encompassing that way. And then they have the people that submit the proposals have to have rationale for why a particular name is associated with the MMSD, why it's important for children who attend school in the district and also for the community. So rationales will be part of the proposals for each. And then after the time for submitting the names is closed, the superintendent is supposed to provide the list of the names, which you now have, publicize the list of the names to the public, and we are seeking public input on the entire list of names for a period of 30 days before this group takes any action on the names. So be aware of that. So we're right now into the middle of July or so, before the committee can actually put proposals on the table and take them off, and do some more work in that regard. But when that's over and the committee can actually meet and do its work before that 30 days is up, so we're good that way. It's just that there are things that are going on at the same time. So we will be getting the public input, on the website, and people can submit information to the Board of Education directly if they so choose. We'll have that information also forwarded over to this committee. This committee will receive that input every time you meet. So you'll see that we have a public comment list for you for this meeting on everything that we have taken in since we first opened the window to seek proposals, which was back in February of 2023. And we will continue to update that report to you every time that you meet. And as I stated a little bit earlier, the board will then receive the recommendation from the committee when you're finished with your work. The chairperson will go to a couple of board meetings. One is a work group meeting to let the board know that the committee has finished its work and they are recommending a particular name. And then the board will have their process. They will deliberate about that. They will also do public appearances for those meetings. And then at a final regular meeting of the board, they will make a motion to decide on the actual name. And very often that meeting actually takes place right at the school itself.
All right.
So that is the policy. If there are any questions about the policy, now would be a good time. Mr. Jones, I'll turn it back to you.
Oh, well, the only thing that I would add to the overall process, and I was just wondering this, and this is something that the committee members can take up prior to the completion of our mission, is at the point of naming the school. I understand that would be made in a regular board meeting, but it was one where I would like to see as many members of this committee attend that meeting to be available, not to turn it into a press conference, but to just recognize the members of the committee who worked so hard to bring it to fruition. So that's something we can think about going forward.
Very good, thank you.
All right, so very good. So when I first read these policies and had a conversation with Barb, I thought that she's going to be very instructional as we move through the process and align our work and apply it to the board policy, or apply the board policy to our work relative to naming the building. So we're going to depend on you, Barb, going forward.
Got it.
Any questions?
I'll be here for the duration.
Any questions for Barb before we move to the next agenda item, which will be a conversation about the research and what type of research we can expect going forward. So let's scan the group. All right, so we're now going to have a conversation about research that would be useful and beneficial to us, the committee, as we go forward.
So Gail Martinson is here. She's our researcher. She's done the past 3 at least with me. And she is a third party researcher, which is also very powerful in this case to not have any bias. She'll remain as impartial as possible. It is totally her mission to give us as much information as she can find and put it in nice little PDF files for us and organize it for us so that in the future, in your next meeting, you will have some research on each of the names. So Gail, would you please take it away? Thank you.
All right.
Oh, well, I'm pleased to be doing this again. I'm going to give you a little bit of credentials, so there's some basis in professionalism. I have a master's degree in library science. I have additional grad classes in archives, history, and education. I was a career archivist with the state and other places, retired in 2012, and have been since 2013 a part-time reference librarian with the Wisconsin Historical Society. So a lot of experience with research. As far as doing the research for the people, the names that are submitted, if they are national names, the research is a little more easily come by. And there's also more information sometimes on any controversies that may have involved that person. But I also try to provide, I look for digital exhibits so that there may be some documents that are actually original documents to look at. I look for where these people's papers are, what archives or library are they in, and I provide some context for that. The local people are sometimes a little more challenging. So I would be looking at through newspaper databases. I would be looking probably in some cases directly through newspapers that don't have databases that are from the Madison area. I would be researching organizations that they may have been involved in. And I get a lot of information, one, from the proposals that give me some direction to go in. And sometimes when people submit feedback, I also get some direction on that as well. Other kinds of, I attend, either attend the meeting, usually as just a nameless face, quiet, nameless face, or I listen to it really fairly soon after the meeting has occurred. If I hear something that might be a misconception or mispronunciation of somebody's name or something like that, I'll do research on that so that we can know that we're actually pronouncing the person's name properly, or that there is some misconceptions that are cleared up. Generally, I communicate those through Barb, and then she works with the committee and provides that information. So I generally, if a committee member probably wants to look at something in particular, maybe through Barb, is that proper, Barb? Okay, all right. So get in touch with Barb, and then I'll look into it. But if there's any questions that you have, do ask me now. I don't know if I can clarify anything. Oh, one other thing. I don't generally provide, I will, for some of them, I provide a summary sheet if you need to go into a web link or something for digital documents, but I don't try to summarize the information that I'm finding, because there would be the risk of putting some kind of slant on it or something. So I'm providing you with the newspaper articles, with the documents, with the materials, and it's up to you to make the individual decisions. Okay? And that's it for me, unless there's any questions.
Well, I guess I was thinking that, so we're going to start with right now 175 proposals, so to speak. And I'm not, the quantity is not an issue, but the substance of some of them. Let's say that one of those proposals, bear with me, committee, because I have to think globally here. Let's say that one of the proposals has the name Santa Claus. Okay, what would be your role in examining that name? And then Barb, what would be your role in moving that name forward? I'm just being a little ad-libby here, that's all.
Well, with the other committees, and I'm speaking just, I don't know how you'll decide to go forward, but there was a rubric, and then the rubric looked at the proposals, consolidated the proposals when there are many proposals, consolidated one into the best proposal that the committee judged. So there was that, and then the other thing is some of the proposals don't complete the criteria. So then the committee decides whether or not to continue those forward. And then at some point, and Barb can clarify for me, the committee decides they rate them, and then as a committee, they drop off a certain number. So at this point, I would, if Santa Claus made the cut, then I would be looking into Santa Claus, any kinds of cultural context to Santa Claus, whether Santa Claus is controversial or exclusionary would be noted as well. But there are, so I've started some work already, but mostly I need to wait until the committee goes through with the process that they're going to go through. Likely, I wouldn't need to be researching every single name. And is that, Barb, is that accurately?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right.
All right, that's good to know. Okay.
Anyone else? Otherwise, I'll go dark. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. All right. So again, another valuable piece of information and another valuable resource as we go forward. And I really think as we begin the process, both what we've heard so far, from what we've heard so far, we'll find that useful information to apply to this process. So all good. Moving to the next item, review of public comments submitted to date. So this is the piece where I think what we want to accomplish here is to begin to get people aware and informed of what's come in so far. And at this point, we don't expect you to make decisions, but we want to begin to build that knowledge base going forward. So here's where Barb takes over again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I'm going to share my screen again. I do want to let you know that there are documents in board docs for this item. And I'm going to start off with the unusual stuff first. This time we received apparently the governor's office for the state of Wisconsin learned that we were going to be naming a new elementary school. We received a letter in support from Ann Walsh Bradley of the Supreme Court. They were interested in putting forward Chief Justice Shirley Abrahamson's name as a consideration. So, and the other letter in support of the same person came from the governor himself. So I'm including this information, of course, in the public input that you are getting. I cannot tell you right now if the governor and or anybody from his office submitted an actual proposal for this. We can talk about that and deliberate about that down the road, but these two pieces of information needed to be shared with you as the committee so that you were aware of them. If we did not receive an official proposal for this, then it may not be something that we can consider. It also could be something that could be considered for another school coming down the line. So we could, respond to Ann Walsh Bradley and to Tony Evers about that and the process and let them know what it involves. But, the committee we can discuss this when we get to that phase. The other thing that's here is the feedback that we have gathered to date from February 7th, 2023 to June 10th, 2024. This will always come in the same format. They're going to give you a date. They're going to tell you what the comment was, and that's about it. So that is the extent of the public input for right now. If you have had a chance to read that, that's great. It's something that, you know, of course, any public input that we get is taken in by the committee, and hopefully that is something that each member can digest in their own way, and also use it as another piece of information for the proposals. Sorry, Mr. Jones, did you have a question?
Oh, yes, no. So the members can actually begin, or some have already begun, to review this information and take their own notes. Am I saying that right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, this is public input. This is coming from anywhere and everyone. So this is what is available on the website to provide to you as a committee. I do want to show you what the website looks like, so we'll get to that in just a moment, but I wanted to make sure that you could see that we did have those 2 letters of support, and then, you know, the input thus far.
Excellent. Okay.
So if I could keep moving on to item number 6, if that's okay, Mr. Jones.
Certainly fine.
Okay, I know that I had the website for this up, and I want to look at that and bring that up because I want everybody to be very familiar with how the Southside naming looks on the MMSD website. I apologize, just give me one moment and I will pull that up for you.
That's cool. Okay.
I was pretty sure that I had it already. Here it is. So I do have the link inside one of the agenda items for this meeting, so you'll be able to find it there too. But I will share it here right now. And I want to make sure I have you on the right page. Are we on the Southside Elementary School naming process page? That's good. Okay. So on here you will find an amazing amount of information. So all the background about where we started, when we started, any public input that we had is welcomed here. The comments on the proposed names and anything else for that matter with this process is open here. Each of the naming proposals is here so that you can, you know, see them online now. They're all in the same format. They all are going to look the same. So you can look at any single one anytime you want to, as well as the rest of the public. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here for just a minute, because I do want you to see at the bottom is where you can submit feedback. We only ask for name, email, and comment. And all of those will be forwarded to the committee each and every time. And people can also upload files if they want to, if they choose. I'm gonna go back to the top up here because these items in the blue blocks are very important. Anyone can view all of our meeting agendas and notices at any time. The history will stay there. And then the YouTube meetings will also be posted here so people can go to them easily. So any members who are not able to make a particular meeting or not the full meeting can go look at these anytime. So they get posted very shortly after the meeting ends, you know, within the next 24 hours, certainly. And so all of that information, pretty much encompasses anything and everything that we could potentially do in this committee. So, the website is, excellent, and I want to, plug our MMSD communications department for the excellent job that they do laying this out and keeping it updated, helping us keep it updated. Are there any questions about the actual website and the proposals there? Just anything that's on the website.
I would suggest so as members begin to navigate the website, moving from screen to screen or subject area to subject area, who's going to be the contact person for members if they get hung up or need some assistance navigating? Is that Barb or Jesse?
I'm happy to do that, Mr. Jones. Yeah.
Okay. So
Sure.
let's make Barb our point of contact as you move through the website to review, to gather information, to just kind of, as I did, play around in it. So, but she's right. There's a lot of information there, and I haven't got through all of it. But I think by having a relatively good understanding of how to navigate, we should be able to be as effective as we need to be. All right, you're it, Barb.
So let's see, I'm gonna go back.
All right.
And then I'm gonna go back to the. So we're gonna get to the really fun part of actually seeing what the proposals look like.
Yeah.
So let's get there. Okay, let me share again.
Okay.
Okay, so we're actually on item, we're moving right along very well. So item number 6. Southside naming proposals and the rubric.
There we go.
I'll pull up the proposals. You know, it's a long list, obviously. They all take the same format. The name is highlighted in yellow here. All of the questions from the actual policy itself are reiterated here. And the rationale for the proposal submitted is here. Each one is separated by a dark line here so that you can see, and they're all numbered. You will see that hopefully that there are no duplicates. It's for the people who are submitting proposals. We don't want the same person to be submitting the same proposal more than once, so we would be looking for that. But you will see that there are many people who propose the same name for this particular school. But that's really what you're looking at is a pretty short and sweet. Answer the questions and tell us what your rationale is, and then the committee begins to do its work. So just going through this document, and we would definitely ask each member to be diligent about doing that, reading every single proposal through one time for sure. And then we'll give you a tool that you can use to evaluate each of these proposals on your own. It's not a document. It's not anything that you would be submitting back to the committee or anything. The rubric is a document that is going to help you assign a number to each of the proposals. And then you make your notes as you go along in the process. And that's when you come back to the committee with your notes and your rubrics in front of you. And then we begin the conversation. So I'm going to close the proposals for now, and I'm going to open that rubric. So it's in Word form because I definitely want everybody to be able to download it, print it, do whatever you want to with it, so that it's user friendly for you. We'll just go through it a little bit. So this rubric is completed for each proposal, and those can be placed in the last column here. The rubric ensures each name moving forward meets the board established criteria. Members can use this rubric to talk through each proposal. Proposals that do not meet all criteria should not be moved forward. So this is the document that is going to help us pare down the proposals. So you put a number, each of the proposals has a number. You'll notice the name or names of the people that are proposing it, what the name is. And then we move down here to the actual assignment of a number. So these questions along the left-hand column here under the scoring portion of the form are the actual questions from the policy. And so each one, it may apply to your particular proposal or it may not. So if you're looking at the name of a person, that probably is going to be the first question here. If it's a geographical site, that's going to apply here in the third question. If it's a concept, that will apply here. So you will not be assigning a number to all of these. This column for not applicable is going to apply because, you know, it's either a name of a person, it's a geographical thing, or it's a concept. So that is where that not applicable check mark comes into play. If it is a person, then it's a pretty simple rubric. The proposal meets the criteria, it does not, or it exceeds the criteria. And you will have a comment section here that you can use for yourself. Like I said, these will not be submitted to the committee. This is for your use. And then each of those that will help you move yourself along. And then at the bottom, please score this proposal on a scale from 1 to 5. You know, just adding up your numbers. And the 1 meeting the least criteria and 5 the most. And then if it doesn't, to give it a 0 so it doesn't move forward. And then the total score here in the box on the far bottom right. So I understand that this is probably your first look at the rubric, certainly in public. Any questions about the rubric?
Could you scroll down, Barb? I'm trying to read that to the far right. There's a box at the very top with some narrative in it. Yeah, that. So if you could, I'm trying to read that. What does that say?
So it says Madison Metropolitan School District schools may be named after a prominent national or local figure who is deceased, a locally significant geographical site, a place of local significance, or an idea or concept which represents a broadly respected civic virtue. Into which of these categories does the proposed name fall?
All right,
so each of you can decide which category your name falls into.
All right, that helps.
Is that clear? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that document is there for everyone to see. And then you can begin to use that as you go along. So I'm back to the agenda now in board docs. Those are the 2 major documents for this agenda item. Believe it or not, I believe that we have made it through all of the mechanical things that you need to go through and get this work done. I did explain a little bit earlier that we need the 30 days to pass for the public to be able to give us input on all of the proposals, all 175 unedited proposals. But as mentioned, I believe that the committee could continue to move forward and do their work in between that time. So I'm going to now if you have any questions about anything, anything that we've given you here in the meeting, please let us know. And then, Mr. Jones, I'll give it back to you for deliberation.
Okay, for conclusion and deliberation. So we want to certainly talk about future meetings. Hopefully we'll be as open as we can be so that all members can attend, but that's going forward. But I want to take a moment and challenge this committee on what I often call a moment of reflection. So as a committee member, you do not have to respond, but I would like you to respond to this question. What's in a name What does a name mean to you? What's in a name? So I'm going to ask each one of you, just take a moment, reflect on that question or statement, and then give just a brief statement. So what's in a name? This committee, this group of people come together to name a newly constructed school building for the purpose of educating our youth in this community. What's in a name? What does a name mean? Interpret it as you like. Megan, what's in a name?
I was going to say like something like a meaning or significance to that is reflective of the community.
All right. Sam, what's in a name?
What comes to mind is identity and pride.
Okay. Keep it going. How about it? I'll come back to Chelsea. She's staff. All right. Well, I guess not. Chelsea, followed by Ruben.
Yeah, I think words are very powerful. And so a name is even more powerful.
Oh, power. All right. Ruben, what's in a name?
Myself, I'd like the name to represent like what the community looks like.
Okay, that's power. And Keisha.
Yeah, so I agree with what you said, Chelsea, as well as what you said, Sam and Ruben. You know, a name is what you stand on. You know, that is something, as we know, is something that our parents give us. It is something that is given from generation through generation. It is something that, we have to live with, so it's very powerful. And once you speak it, once you live with it, once you walk with it, you don't want somebody to tarnish it at all. So therefore, like Sam said, it is very powerful. So once we put it out there in the atmosphere, we want it to be something that everybody is so proud of. And just for myself, my name is powerful. So I don't want nobody to speak badly about my name.
Okay.
So, so it's very important. It is very important. So name is a lot. Name is a lot.
Okay. All right. I'm getting excited, more excited. How about it, Jesse?
I'd say legacy and kind of build on what other people have already said.
I like it. Keeping it moving. Demetra.
I'd have to piggyback off of what Jesse said in terms of legacy and intention for perpetuity.
Ooh, we're getting all these big words. They mean something. Okay, Gail, what's in the name? Oh, I think we may have.
I don't know that I'm not on the committee, so do you want me to say something?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I would think, I guess I would add, everyone said wonderful thing. I would just say that it's also helpful if it can be used for moments of education.
Beautiful. All right. Keeping it going, Ruby.
To me, I would say name is define who you are or define a community.
Oh, strength. I hear strength there. Go ahead, Benny.
I think simply put, a name is a reference. It differentiates two locations, two species, right? You've got Felis catus, house cat. And so it starts specifically as a demarker of separation from something else. And I think from there, locally, we ascribe a value to it, right? In the Eastern tradition, people first identify themselves with their family as opposed to the individual, right? It's more of a collective as opposed to the way that we here in the West practice individuality. So I think, again, from when I think about name, I think first reference and then all of the cultural prescriptions that we ascribe to it.
All right, going. And Barb, you've been doing this so long and so intensely, but we're going to ask you anyway. What's in it?
I think I've heard everything from, let's just give it a number, kind of like they do in New York City, and not go through this kind of personalization about it. But Madison is very personal, and their schools mean a great deal to them, and mostly to the kids. I mean, if it's named after a person, that person becomes a role model for the student body. If it's something else, it really means something that lasts a very long time and means a great deal to everybody throughout their lives. So they take that with them. So it means a lot to me to support this work, and I'm very happy to be here to do that.
Right. Excellent. So I wanted to just have that moment of reflection, because when I was asked to join this committee or join this process and then chair this committee, that was the first question I asked myself. Why name a building, and what's in a name? What does it mean? You all captured all of those psychological, social tendencies that make up an individual location of a building that, in my opinion, is fundamentally developed to educate, teach, orient, present new information to our young folk. We mold young minds in our schools. So that name really does have deep, significant meaning. So I'm glad I didn't take up too much time, but I wanted you to think about that as we conclude our agenda for the first meeting. And I just want to, again, thank each and every one of you for your time and talent. We all have assignments, so let's dig in, roll up the sleeves, do our homework by reviewing information, asking questions of the right person, that's Barb, and going forward. But just let me be clear. I think before we schedule that next meeting, we have to exhaust that 30-day period for for notification to the public that we're waiting on. So we've got to talk about the next meeting. So what I'm going to ask, I think I'm asking Jessica.
Chair, point of order.
Oh, go.
I just realized that we don't have quorum anymore. We have lost one of our committee members.
Did we lose? Who did we lose?
Chua her.
Oh,
You
she's
still
gone?
have 7, Benji. You still have 7. We're good.
Okay, so okay,
Good.
thank you.
I've been checking it throughout, believe me.
Okay,
So
thank
yeah,
you.
we're good.
Good.
I
Good
know
point.
that I knew that we were gonna lose Ruben. No, I'm sorry, not Ruben. I knew we were gonna lose Cha through the meeting. So but we're still good. We still have 7. Thank you.
Good catch, Benny, and thanks for that. Remind
Yep.
us to be legitimate and performance oriented. So good point and good correction. All right. So having said that, we do have to exhaust the waiting period. So I'm going to suggest or ask the question, if we wanted to conduct another doodle poll on the next available time following the exhaustion of that waiting period. Is that Jesse? Is that you, or is that Bob or Amanda?
I can help you with the scheduling, Mr.
Okay.
Jones. Sure.
So can we expect that once we pass that date and we exhaust the waiting period, just to issue a doodle poll so that members can, and members who are not present can also fix their availability for that?
Yes, so we're looking right now at the 3rd week, let's see, in July. So the week starting July 22nd in July would be well past our time slot. So that's where we'll probably start our doodle poll in there.
All right. So let's allow our staff to go ahead on and pull that together. And I just want to scan the group to say, are there any final comments any of you would like to make? Any final follow-ups on procedures or process that Barb needs to bring forward? With those 2 items, we will begin to ask for an adjournment. So seeing no questions or comments from the members, Barb, any final comments on process, procedures, and so forth?
I think we've covered a lot. I think everybody kind of is pretty familiar with what they have to do. If not, they know who to ask. Please, if you do email, don't email the whole group because we don't want to get in open meeting stuff. So just, it will be me and Mr. Jones for sure, and Chelsea Tubbs as our three people who are supporting you. So any one of us will be able to take it up, but I would really like to know whenever you have questions about anything, you can call me or email me or whatever. But yeah, just be careful about talking to each other outside of this venue.
Right, good reminder.
Or a quick question too.
Yeah.
On scanning the renaming website, I don't see a deadline for submitting public comment on the names that are currently available. I know that internally we have discussed a 30-day window, but I don't see that reflected publicly on our website.
So the reason there's no deadline date, Benji, is because we don't cut it off. The public input stays open for the entire process, all the way through and through the board process as well. So there's no cutoff.
Okay.
But we just
But it's
want to
more
pay
of like
attention to that initial 30 days. Yes.
Good
Okay.
point. Good
Okay.
point. Excellent. All right. All right. So just scanning the group, seeing no hands, seeing no questions. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
So we need a mover first. So Benji, can
Right,
you
I
be
was
the
gonna say,
mover? I move.
you make the motion, Benny,
And
then
the
we'll ask.
second
I'll
person
make the
can
motion
say
then.
I
Motion to
second.
adjourn.
Motion has been properly made to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
I second.
Awesome.
Properly seconded by Ruben. Motion by Benny. I can use first names and you all will fill in the blanks, staff, last name. And seconded by Ruben, properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Sign of
Everybody
aye.
must say
All
aye. Everybody
right,
say
aye.
aye. Who's
All right,
on the
everybody.
committee?
Aye.
Thank
Any
you. Or
opposed?
raise your hand or whatever. Yes, that's awesome.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
It's harder to do that
Harder to do it, I know
virtual.
it.
So yeah, so we want to
Any-
make sure that we have everybody's vote. So
That
I
right.
think we're good. Thank you so very
No,
much.
but we also have to ask, any oppositions? Seeing none, hearing none, motion is approved. I'm so glad each of you attended tonight. I look forward to the next meeting. Roll up our sleeves. Let's get busy going to work. Now I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Be good and